As the preseason has reached its peak hype, so have the bad takes. I've been seeing more and more chatter about quarterbacks and where they rank going into the upcoming season. And I can say what I've seen is just wrong. I have found that most projections are just ass backwards, that peddle football propaganda telling us the best quarterbacks are just guys that have no right being spoken about as highly as they are. Let's throw it back to last year. Who did consensus lists have at or near the top? Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, Lenora Sellers, DJ Lagway, and Drew Aller. Basically all of which who were just horrific and led to miserable seasons for teams that were considered contenders. I'm pretty sure we're going to have the same type of situation on our hands this year, and I want to try my hand at going against the consensus. Collectively, we've given way too much respect to people that have legitimately no idea what they're talking about, rather just guessing and building hype for the wrong people. The networks that I loved to listen to as a kid just set guys up for failure every year, and I see who's getting the short end of the stick this year. My point isn't solely based on arbitrary lists from media outlets looking for clicks. I also have a bone to pick with sportsbooks and their early odds on who is favored to be crowned as the best college football player in 2026. Gone are the days of just shoving the award in the face of whoever the best player is on the best SEC team. As of late, the eventual winner hasn't been favored on preseason lists. I might have been one of the fleeting ACC fans who actually saw the guy play at Cal and knew he had a chance to be something.
To come back.
Hey, first of all, I want to give all the glory to God. That was an amazing comeback. It's a testament how tough we are as a team. I love my boys.
Everyone else just thought the feel-good story of Sig in Indiana wouldn't last. Little did they know. In 2024, Travis Hunter had his gimmick two-way thing going on, but did anyone really think he'd win the Heisman on a shitty Colorado team? There's no chance. If recent history tells you anything, it should be to not invest too much in those who are being pitched to you as the best going into the year. Big college football is trying to sell you on two cash cows. We've all been fed lies about how Notre Dame and Texas are going to go undefeated and will restore glory to underperforming programs, and their quarterbacks have become massively overrated as a result.
Is that it?
Come on, man. We don't do hang loose in Austin. It's hook 'em. Pinky index.
Oh, index.
Pinky index.
There
it
you go.
is.
There it is.
Obviously, it goes without saying that CJ Carr and Arch Manning are the subjects of this video. Arch is a guy that's been built up for years. Nothing new there. Now, the same thing is happening to CJ Carr. Come their first bad game of the year, social media will have a field day with these guys. The quote-unquote experts and odds makers are wrong. I'm going to let you know why you shouldn't plant your flag with either of these guys. Let's analyze CJ Carr first. Coming off a redshirt freshman season where Notre Dame went 10-2, he has been identified as the most likely player to become the next king of college football. The prior sentence of just basic background is where the deception begins with this guy. He started week 1 as a redshirt freshman at Notre Dame. That would lead you to think that he was the chosen one, that just waited 1 year in the wings to bring the Catholics back to heaven. But he isn't. He was only named the starter a few weeks before the season, narrowly winning the job going into a marquee game against Miami. Because they pieced together a 10-2 season, it makes you want to think, oh wow, that's a damn good freshman season. Wrong. Those 10 wins are about as weak as they possibly could have been. He was gifted an independent schedule, loaded with absolute bullshit, and put up less total passing yards than Tommy Castellanos. The best statistical games that we saw out of CJ Carr came against Boston College, who was 2-10, NC State, who was 8-5, which is fine, Arkansas, who was 2-10, and not to mention he put up pretty mediocre stats against a 3-9 Syracuse team, a 2-10 Purdue team, and a 4-8 Stanford team. The strength of schedule argument gets pretty exhausting, because I do get it. You play whoever's on the schedule. It's not CJ Carr's fault he played against high school teams, but it is his fault that he got the opportunity to farm stats against these teams and was completely unremarkable.
Who's your favorite Irish legend when you were a kid before you got here?
Oof.
Guy that you grew up watching?
See, I didn't grow up watching Notre Dame
Well, I
football.
know you're a Michigan guy.
Yes.
You had to be aware of Notre Dame.
Not really.
He also had his opportunity to put his mark on the season in games against 2 college football playoff teams, and he lost both of them. The only other real game he had was against a fringe USC team, and he put up a pretty ass 136 yards. With all of this, how can he possibly be viewed as the favorite to gain the title of all-time college football great? Maybe I missed the memo that everyone collectively decided he'll just do a better job farming numbers off another year of a horseshit schedule.
Ready? Yes. All right, let's roll. Every person in this room's got to say, okay, we didn't get it done. Okay, why? What didn't I do? What didn't I do? We're 0-2.
Notre Dame is genuinely the fucking worst. They get to stay independent, but loosely connected to the ACC by scheduling the worst teams they have year in and year out. Ultimately, all CJ has to worry about is losing to Miami in early November. Beyond that, he'll get to hide behind an amazing defense that will shield him from any upset loss. If scheduling matters for making the playoff, how does it not for postseason award consideration? He should have to put up Joe Burrow numbers to even get consideration from me. I refuse to respect a schedule merchant who can't even take advantage of it. Let's not forget, this is the quarterback for a team that took their ball and went home when they didn't get what they wanted last year, after losing their only real games. The hype on this guy doesn't end with college football talking heads. Supposedly, the NFL is gushing over Carr as a prospect. The CJ Carr stands love to present this to me as if it's supposed to fucking mean something. I don't give a fuck if the Jets and Browns like a quarterback, because whoever they like always blows. We are basically one calendar year removed from what was supposed to be a generational quarterback class taking the field in 2025. And quite literally all the headliners from that class either didn't get drafted, had to go back to college, or were taken with a throwaway pick late. The NFL Brain Trust just loves to tell us who's up next, before they quietly separate themselves from that same player when he doesn't perform like they had hoped. Luckily for Notre Dame, they whined their way into getting their own special clause for a playoff berth this year. So when their elite roster drags them to the big stage, I look forward to being proven right when it matters most. Much like we saw from Julian Sand last year against Texas, Miami, and Indiana. I'm sure his collection of subpar performances against low-quality opponents will mostly be ignored, but with their special playoff spot ready for them going into the year, I'll have to wait some time to see my prediction become reality. This all may feel a tad harsh, because I do have so much disdain for Notre Dame. I'm not hiding my bias. I just don't get what CJ Carr has shown to anybody to become lauded to the degree he currently is. I'm not a film bro. I don't get all worked up at seeing the rotational force of a quarterback's hips or the angle his front foot is at during his release. Who gives a fuck? That's all nonsense used for over-evaluating players. Like for me, it's all pretty simple. Do you have a track record of putting the team on your back? Does a quarterback have the ability to win despite the talent level around him? And do you win the big games? At this point, can you answer yes to any of these questions? Because I can't.
People outside of here, Notre Dame football is 0-2. Offense is great and the defense sucks. It's one person's fault. Buckner, it's your fault because you dropped Drake. It's your fault. It's Coach Astor's fault. It's Coach Freeman's fault. It's every person in this room's fault.
It doesn't seem like that matters to most, though. He goes into the year as a Heisman favorite, and on the watch lists for the Manning Award, Maxwell Award, Johnny Unitas Golden Arm, Davey O'Brien, and Walter Camp Awards. Meanwhile, I can't answer why. I'm not preying on Carr's downfall. He seems like a good guy. I just want his team to fail miserably.
Guess what? We ain't gonna do this. Until everybody collectively says, okay, where did I fail? And not point your finger.
Honestly, compared to the other featured player in this video, this may somehow be considered tame.
What degree do you desire to create your own identity with that famous last name?
Yeah, I never really think about that. I'm just here to play football. It's a game I love, grew up playing. You're out there with your friends playing every Saturday. What could get better than that?
Now we move on to an heir to a football throne in Arch Manning. A guy that's been spoken about as if he's Jesus Christ reincarnated since high school. Now he's in year 4 at Texas, and he hasn't been the one that was promised. Instead, he's become a player that essentially fills the same archetype as CJ Carr, but he is the gift of an SEC crutch that some grant him. I don't, though.
When you were the #1 recruit in the country, Arch.
Yeah, I don't think I've done enough yet to be taking a lot of pictures at restaurants and signing autographs, but maybe that'll come eventually.
After looking like shit against Ohio State in week 1 last year, eyebrows began to raise, and after becoming even worse against UTEP in week 3, people jumped off the sinking ship that is Arch Manning. I officially became a doubter after I saw this dude be a fake demon trying to be tough on some dude after scoring a touchdown against Sam Houston State. Like, look at this. This isn't cool. You're embarrassing yourself. Act like you've been here before. You just wet your pants against Ohio State and UTEP. You aren't that dude. This shit was actually so cringe. He was trying to score points on social media to gain back some of his ego that had already died up to this point. But people weren't buying that shit, and he got clowned as he should. To me, it feels like all the chatter about being the next great quarterback got to his head, and he's trying to convince himself it's true. Just to note, he immediately went on to put up a stinker and lose to G5 Billy and the joke of the SEC in the Florida Gators, effectively ending their season, and killing all of the hype they went into the year with as the preseason #1.
Wow, this is like rock. This
is like the
But McConaughey does it
professional-
this way.
Well, he's from Hollywood.
Yeah,
this is like the
That's it.
proper way to put that
Just
up.
hold it up.
Everybody says, put your horns up.
Good enough.
Texas fight.
College football fans have short memories, though. And somehow that sinking ship from last year is full of the same fuckers that relentlessly clowned this guy last year. I don't understand what changed. He's the exact same player as he was this time last year. I suppose you can say Texas finished hot, but it wasn't because of Arch, it was in spite of him. To cover myself against the obvious argument here, yeah, he played well against Vandy. That team wasn't top 10 in the country because they had some great defense, though. So congrats. He balled out and was a better quarterback on that day than Diego Pavia. I wouldn't be twerking over that if I was an Arch truther. Then he rounded out the year with wins against Texas A&M and Michigan, while being pretty pedestrian in my opinion. He was given the roster in 2025. Their collective came through and coughed up the money to make a title team. But the problem is, Arch isn't Eli, and sure as fuck isn't Peyton. The Manning name is still holding weight. If those two didn't win a Heisman, this guy definitely isn't going to buck the trend. We have to stop with the Manning buff when assessing this player. It's just clouding everyone's judgment. His only actual complete games last year came against San Jose State, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Vandy, and Arkansas. What about good games against those losers inspires any confidence that he'll be able to replicate it week in and week out in 2026? In good faith, can you see Arch putting up 250 and multiple TDs in more than half of these games? Ohio State, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, LSU, or Mizzou? There's just no way. When a quarterback has this kind of hype, people can be sure they're going to absolutely dice up people throughout the year. Think back to Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, Mariota, Baker Mayfield. Going into their Heisman years, there was doubt about the respective teams, not the player themselves. With Texas, the biggest issue on the roster is the quarterback. The roster's just filthy, and they'll be the reason they can achieve to the level people think they can. If they do achieve what we are told they're capable of, it'll be because of a guy like Cam Coleman playing to a Heisman level and making plays on the dead ducks that leave Arch's hands. So it just makes no sense to give praise to Arch when realistically eyes should be on everyone else at UT. It sucks to hate on a Manning because Eli gave me the best years of my football life. But if Arch was a little humble about being ass, I'd still cheer for him. Unfortunately, that's just not the case. Trying to flex whenever he did something decent was enough for me. Also, just because he was given the title of #1 pick when he was still in high school, doesn't mean it would be embarrassing to admit you were wrong. I did it, and now I feel liberated from having to act like he's even close to the player he's supposed to be. We've seen the player Arch is. Trust your eyes, not the media hype. Much like the situation with CJ Carr, Arch may very well make the playoff on the back of the best roster money can buy. But unlike CJ Carr, I think we'll have seen several stinkers along the way, thanks to having to play legitimate talent consistently during the year. I fully expect a major share of the Arch bandwagon to abandon him as soon as things get tough, which has a strong chance of happening week 2 against Ohio State. I'm obviously navigating some dangerous waters here making these projections, but someone had to do it. I cannot stand when media elevates players that are a part of teams that are just darlings over the players that actually deserve it. For example, how can CJ Carr and Arch top QB lists at the expense of guys like Darian Mensah, JKS, Drew Mestamaker, Josh Hoover, and Trinidad Chambliss? It's simple why things are this way too. In the eyes of the college football world, Texas and Notre Dame, yay! Miami, Cal, Oklahoma State, Indiana, and Ole Miss, boo! We can't just disregard guys that have played elite football in order to put lesser players on a pedestal because of the caliber of school they go to. As fans, we have to be able to separate the player's success from the team's success. I really believe that Carr and Manning will prove me right this year. Any success they have will be tied to how stacked the rosters are, not because they were clearly the best quarterbacks in college football. Texas and Notre Dame fans are known to have logical temperaments, so I feel pretty safe that they won't tell me I need a lobotomy once they hear me spew what they'd consider blasphemous. I appreciate anyone that checked this video out. If you agree with me, let me know down in the comments. If you don't agree with me, crud. Regardless, I hope you all have a great day. Make sure to smash that comment button and like and subscribe.